Welcome in. It is day 204, and you're speaking to the Meeples Champion. And today we're going to be going over an older game. This is one of those games I grabbed it on my mom's collection recently, trying to get back to a few of those nostalgic games from the 80s and 90s that I used to play as a kid. This was one of those word games. I've mentioned before that I like getting into a good word game, hardcover, softback. Those were some great opportunities to kind of re-dive into the idea of these word games, and I've done so many other ones through the years. But one of the ones that was one of my favorites, especially with my grandmother, Boggle. So we all know the concept of Boggle. You're shaking up a bunch of dice inside of this big device. When it gets all laid out, you have your timer. You guys pull the top off, you flip it, and you go, okay, make as many words as you can. And then depending on players, and usually best for me at 2, but you can play this as many as you want. You basically go around, everybody writes all their words down till the time runs out, and then you have to start crossing out. So, if I have the word they and you have the word they, it doesn't count. If I have the word they, but I found it 3 times, and you have the word they and you found it twice, we cross out 2 each, and I get to have that third one. And you go through until everybody's basically made sure that all of the, copied words are out, and then you score your uniques, and then you either win based on the one round, or you have a score you're going to, and now you go to round 2 and you continue. It's really simple, but it's one of those games that stands the test of time. It's actually one of the few I still could really play today. I actually played it with my sisters recently, because it's not something that has a mechanic that has been vastly improved upon. There's other ways to do word games, but the version that this did, it's really pretty strong. Yeah, you can go get like the newer Boggle that instead of 4x4 does 5x5. But other than that, its mechanic is a strong mechanic for the style game that it is. Well, that's the concept of the game in general. Why don't we jump in, judge it on our 7 categories, and see where this one lands for us today. When it comes to that art, this is not exactly the most grabbing box. I think in its time, the box was fine. I wouldn't say necessarily it was a great box, but I think it did its job. But today, unless you're specifically looking for either a nostalgic game, or you're looking specifically for Boggle, or you're looking for a word game, I don't think this box does much to grab the eye. And I don't think the inside does much either. It is what it is, which is fine, but it just doesn't sell it for me. It has to be a thumbs down. When it comes to those components, I mean, you have the actual box, which is, the nice see-through top, the bottom, which is nice and plastic to hold all your dice in, the dice with the different, combinations of letters, which you're rolling around inside, made of wood, and of course, your timer. And I think they're all really well put together. I have no issue with any of them. It's got to be a thumbs up. Your price. Boggle's not an expensive game, and it shouldn't be. It's a small box. Yes, that box is packed and there's a lot in there, but that stuff that's in there is plastic and wood. It's not expensive. So you're going to get this game for probably in the range of $30. It might even be less these days. And you can, of course, get different versions. This is just a version of Boggle. There are dozens. And that includes probably getting a smaller version that's a little bit more compact for like the road. You can play Boggle at a very easy price. It's got to be a thumbs up. Your difficulty. So the only real difficulty with this is about, are you not into word games? Do you like spelling? If you like that challenge, if you like being able to find the puzzle of the letters and figure out what words are there, this is great for you. If you like hardback, softback, Scrabble, if you like unspoken words, if you're into these style games, this is going to be great for you. If you're not, that's okay. So I don't think the difficulty is necessarily cutting off anybody, and that includes kids. Your 10-year-old entry level is fine for this. They can spell. So that's not a cutoff for me at all. I think that it's just about your style of game, and for that reason, it has to be a thumbs up, because there's plenty here. Replayability. I mean, the game is all about, do you want to play Boggle? And you think about it because you're not playing it once. Somebody says you want to play Boggle, you're playing it for like the next 2 hours. You're playing 4, 5, 6 games in a row. You're doing a tournament of points, and you're figuring out either a cutoff in time or a cutoff on who reaches a certain point value and the game ends. It's, to me, really good for replayability. Got to be a thumbs up. Your keys to victory. So, in a game like this, your keys to victory is more so about, I suppose, the length of word you want to go for. Do you want to really work hard to find only 2 or 3 really big words? Because the likeliness is, if you do, you're going to be the only one finding them, and they're going to score, and they're going to score large. Or are you going to sit there going nuts about all the small words? Get as many as you can. Yeah, they're only going to be worth 1 or 2 points apiece, but if you can flood the game with them, the likeliness is that you're going to end up being able to really match up with your opponent for your points, and you're just hoping to outdo them. So you have some options there. You can, of course, mix the two. You could work off of a certain corner of there. You could work off of certain letters that you feel like stand out, make sure if they do or don't have anything that's really hitting for them. I think there's keys to victories here. It's not a lot, but it's enough for the game that it is. It's got to be a thumbs up. Is the game unique? It's not unique. It's not. It's another word game. You may not have the choice of the lettering like you do in Scrabble, and you may not have the randomness of then taking that randomness to decide which letters you use like you do in hardback or softback. But you could definitely compare this to like a game of pretty much anything that you're doing when it comes to like your newspaper, and you pull out those old circle the word puzzles. There's so many games that line up with this in different corners. It's just another word game for me. It's a great one. I enjoy it, but it's one that it isn't in my collection, because when I wanted to play this game, I would say I'd rather play hardback, and that's the game I tend to go for. That's my number one. And if I wanted to play this game, it was likely going to be with my mom. So I just told her, okay, well, you have a copy. So when we're at your house, if you don't want to play hardback, if that's not what you're into, at least you have your copy, what you have. I enjoy the game. I'll play this with you, but it's not the game for me. So for me, unique wise, it's a thumbs down. Overall, what do I think? It's one of the better classics. It's one of the games that does hold up today. I know a few days ago we went over the game Clue, and I talked about it being probably one of the games that I still like a lot from my childhood, and I agree. But when you ask about playability, this is the most playable probably from my childhood, along with a couple others that we'll get to in time. But this is one of the top ones. So for me, I think this is a great game to add to your collection if you like word games. If you want them, toss it in. And if you don't want in your collection because you already have a lot of games and you're trying not to overflood it and you're not going to play with many people, just make sure the people you do play with have a copy. As long as one of you have it, you're good to go. Well, it has been day 204, and we've been speaking about the game Boggle. And you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description. I'll be adding an Amazon link in case you want to get this game for your collection. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.